Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sicilian Corner. Lou, how are you?
Doing very well.
Geez, that was quite a blizzard we got yesterday, huh?
It was pretty good for,
What
for
was pretty
recent
good?
years.
They're predicting 4 to 6. We're lucky if we got 2.5.
I
You know, the weathermen, they're wrong probably 75 to 80% of it, and they still have a job.
So what are we getting Saturday night and Sunday?
I hope we get buried. That's what I hope.
No, no.
I love to see it. And you know something? It's good for your lawn.
Okay, here we go with the one. The nitrogen.
No, it's nitrogen.
Yep.
Potassium.
Yep.
This is all good stuff. You don't have to buy. You want your lawn nice and green? Let it snow.
All right.
You know, you got these poor son of a guns, these landscapers and guys that are working during the summertime. They try to keep your yards looking good. In the wintertime, they go plow and they're reliable. But what the heck? You got nothing to plow. How are you going to make any money? You got to upkeep a truck and everything else.
I got to support plow guys now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Low on my list.
There's nothing wrong with that. But the weather, these guys are crazy. I mean, I don't know what it's 4 hours before the storm is supposed to start and they still get it wrong.
Yep.
Don't tease me. I fill up my lawnmower, my snowblower. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock. Check the oil. I lubricate the auger, so it doesn't clog up.
Have you got your shot? Have you got your cortisone shot?
I'm sorry?
Are you ready to go? Have you got your cortisone shot?
No, not cortisone, my epidural.
Epidural.
No, the epidural's another week and a half. I got to trust you. Trust me. I am dying to get it because I'm feeling it. I really am.
So we don't need snow on Sunday. You don't need to be shoveling on Sunday.
Yeah, but I know, something. I do it bits and pieces. I'm happy. I think I love winter. I freaking love winter.
Get your shoveling done and sit down and watch the Super Bowl.
It's the nicest time of the year.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, you remember this guy last time we met him?
Yes.
Yeah. We were up at Tommy Zappla's show.
Yep.
And Jeff was there. And we asked him if he wanted to come over and say hello to us. Jeff Gross, everybody. Local boy. Lives right up in Newburyport. Mm-hmm. And you just started a new company, relatively new.
I did.
And why don't you tell us about what exactly you're doing and why you're here today?
Sure. Well, hi, Lou. Us Newburyport guys stick together.
We do.
Yeah, I thought you looked familiar. Plum Island, right?
Yeah.
So I have, it's a new business, but not a new passion. So I like to describe myself as I'm a 4-sport fan. I'm a 1-sport collector, and that would be baseball cards.
Okay.
Vintage baseball cards, old time stories, old time players, old time cards.
All right.
And it's, one of the things that keeps me young. I like to call myself a 58-year-old, 12-year-old because I still collect baseball cards.
Yeah, I always say that to my wife. I'd rather act my shoe size.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'd say it's about right.
What kicked that off, Jeff? What kicked off the collecting?
Yeah.
Well,
as a kid, or?
Yeah, as a kid, and I never completely drifted out of it. I've been active in it since the mid '70s, and then I was into it more in college, and then I discovered girls, and that's way more interesting than baseball cards. Married a beautiful girl from Danvers.
She wasn't Italian, was she?
She wasn't. But my daughter-in-law is. Do I get credit for that?
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah,
that's half.
Yeah, I told Mike and Lou, my daughter-in-law, came to us as Sophia La Cortiglia.
Yeah.
Beautiful name. Now she's Sophie Gross.
Yeah.
So I'm Sophie, if you're listening, I love you. I'm welcome to the family, but I'm so sorry what we did to your beautiful name.
What was the reaction when your wife saw your baseball card collection for the first time?
Well, she grew up in a sports family. She is herself a sports fan, and she's very supportive of the hobby. So thank goodness for that. Yeah. Her mom is probably one of the biggest Red Sox fans. She's not with us, but she was one of the biggest Red Sox fans and loyalists ever. So it was not super foreign to her. Tastes
are changing. People my generation, as we're dying off, and you see it in almost every aspect.
Okay.
Optimistically,
are you telling us something? Are you good?
Right now, if I fall backwards, you'll know.
I don't want to take over that.
Weekend with Bernie, pal. Yeah, you can hoof me up here.
I'll bring you to the Super Bowl party we're hosting on Sunday. You could be
at the business?
At the house.
Oh,
business.
Yeah. The question I had for you was, generations are changing. People are getting older, and taste different and vary.
Mhm.
You know, I was telling you about the St. Delphio Society, and a lot of the people that supported our organization are passing away. And the younger people coming into it, their passion doesn't seem to be quite as strong.
Hmm. Hmm.
In baseball, collecting baseball cards, are you finding that the demand or the interest is basically going down a little bit or not?
Actually, no.
Okay.
It's kind of, it's, you know, one of the few good things that came out of COVID, when people were sitting around with nothing to do but access to the internet. The sports collecting hobby, and even non-sports that I don't know much about, had a massive surge.
Really?
So sports fans has not changed. So I'm a baseball card collector, but basketball cards, football cards, you know, in some regions like here, hockey cards, but baseball cards, it's still strong. So there's really kind of two categories of collectors in my view. If you were to just put it as two buckets, you got the younger generation that collect the new cards. They're very shiny. They create these rare cards that they'll insert a chase card.
Mhm.
So Shohei Ohtani, very, very popular, amazing ball player. They'll take one card that he signed special, tuck it in a pack, and like a Willy Wonka gold ticket, they'll just release it to the world. So everybody goes crazy looking for that one card. But so
Wow.
to your question about, so there's a ton of young collectors into those cards.
Okay.
What I find though, as it relates to old vintage stuff that I like,
That's what you like.
that's what I like.
I think Tommy Zappala too.
Exactly. He's an expert in that area. Is a lot of
He's
times
an expert in every area.
That's what he
You
told
know,
me.
yeah, he said tells everybody.
Yeah, that's what he's not.
It's just not you. Tells everybody. Oh, there isn't one thing you can say, you know,
That he doesn't
mention that he's not.
He's Cliff Clavin.
Oh, absolutely.
He's Cliff Clavin.
Absolutely.
Cliffy.
I
Yeah.
don't want to jump you, but there's two things that fuel that with the younger collectors, I think. One of which is the investment part of it, and that there's money involved.
Yes,
There's money to be made.
that's true, and that's true for some vintage collectors too.
And the second part of it is your stories like yours, with things like literally coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah. That's it. That's so. What brought me to this point in my opportunity to meet you and talk to your audience here is a pretty neat story. So I've been a lifetime collector. About 8 or 9 years ago, I decided, my kids are older. My two kids are older, and I decided, hey, you know what? I'd like to get back into the vintage cards, and my goal was to try and add one player from the Hall of Fame. So I've had fun with it. So fast forward to, or go back, I guess, to last summer. My wife is selling her childhood home in Danvers. And, you know, we're selling whatever was in the house. And a gentleman comes by on his bike, and he just introduces himself, just being friendly, neighborly. And I hear him talk to my wife about some old baseball cards. So, of course, I'm leaning in. I'm like, the radar. I was like, hello. So I introduced myself to him. Great guy. And he said, yeah, I inherited this collection from my dad. So I'm doing the calendar math in my head. I'm like, all right, this guy's probably 10 years older than me. His dad's like, oh, okay. So these are probably some older cards. So he mentioned names that you might be familiar with, even if you're not a collector. Ty Cobb, Christy Matheson. I mean, big name guys. So long story short, we make a date to get together so I can look at his collection. So he sends me these spreadsheets. He's a very organized guy. He sends me his spreadsheets with all the cards, and I know more about old cards than I really need to. So I recognize them all, except for one spreadsheet. And I said, I don't know what these are. And it said Sunlight Bakery. And I didn't know what that was. What it turns out is Sunlight Bakery, you know it better than I do.
Yeah.
The Morehouse, yeah.
It was the Morehouse Bakery, Louis, that is down by the canal, North Lawrence Canal. And they had a product called Betsy Ross bread. And Betsy Ross, like other companies in the area, there were breadmen that would come to your house. You had milkmen that would come to your house. Everything was delivered to your house, which was pretty neat. I had the pleasure, Jeff, of there was a company called Glenny's Milk.
Okay.
And they were from North Andover. And they used to deliver milk to my house. And the guy that used to come to our house, his name was Libby. And he went to my father one day. He says, your kids he's a pretty big boy. He says, they could be interested in helping me deliver milk before he goes to grammar school.
Oh, there you go.
He says, I don't know. He says, why don't we ask him? So, of course, I want to know how much Zordis are in it. I could, but anyway, I agreed to it. So but the problem was I had a paper route after school. So I used to take my paper bag jump on the milk truck at 5:30 in the morning. And where I lived, there was a lot of 3-deckers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this guy was getting on in years. He had arthritis.
You had young legs.
So it was
Yeah.
a good form of exercise.
Yeah, sure.
And I used to, remember the old milk trucks, the doors would open up and you could hang on the side. I used to think that was the
It
coolest.
was a blast, and you're getting paid to do it.
Oh,
What could be better?
He'd drop me off at the school about 20 minutes before school was going to start. Give me a dozen of those pint bottles of strawberry chocolate and different types of milk.
Mm-hmm.
The guys would all come running over, and I'd be like the Pied Piper handing them out.
Oh, so this is where your career as the mayor started, because I call Mikey the mayor.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
This was the beginning.
Yeah, that was the beginning.
That was the edge.
Yep.
That was the beginning. But I loved it. I did. I did that for 2.5 years, and I enjoyed it. And from there, I ended up at the Butcher Boy, which is the Butcher Boy was right in Salem, New Hampshire at the time, and they just celebrated their 7th year. Are you familiar with the Butcher Boy?
Oh yeah,
Butcher Boy Market.
Yeah, yeah.
The Amin family lived directly across the street from me.
Okay.
And when I was 13, which was 1958, they asked me if I wanted to go up and work. Of course, I said absolutely.
Yeah.
So I gave up my paper route. I gave up the milk and all that jazz. And I'd go to work with them in the morning and come home with them at night in the summertime. It was good. I was at Central until they threw me out for 1.5 years. So I'd catch the bus on Broadway, take the bus up to Salem, New Hampshire. It was nice. I had a very, very, very good time. But Morehouse Bakery owned Betsy Ross, getting back to that.
Yeah.
And we just found some cards that even collectors like yourself, people who spend hours, zillions of hours.
I was gonna say a few hours,
studying. You didn't even know these cards existed.
No. So this spreadsheet had a bunch of cards on there, said Sunlight Baking Company. I didn't know what it was. I do now. Recognize the names. I see Shoeless Joe Jackson. There you go. That's a great photo there.
These are the bakers that worked there. And this picture was taken right around 1920. And this picture is courtesy of the Lawrence History Center.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the quality. I mean, 1920. I mean,
they look sharp. Look at those. They look great.
Crystal clean. I mean, geez, I think that's pretty cool. But they had Betsy Ross, like I said, and Betsy Ross, besides bread, did a lot of bakery products.
Yeah.
And they had this devil dog, Lou.
Really? A devil dog or the devil dog?
Well, it was called devil dog, but Betsy Ross devil dog. So
was it the same, like rolled, like?
Yeah, it was rolled, but the cream. Yeah, now you look, it's like 1/8 of an inch, not even. It's paper thin.
Now I'm hungry.
This thing was like this.
Yeah.
You bite into it, the cream becomes squirt. Oh,
it must have smelled good in that neighborhood.
Tell you, eating that was the best fun you could have with your clothes on.
Okay.
No.
I mean, delicious with your clothes off too, probably, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That too.
All right.
That too. But anyway, as kids, I mean, Jesus, that was our treat on Wednesday nights.
That's nice.
Taking our walk back to St. Lawrence.
Yeah.
And of course, we'd get the bread. And we'd get the bread and toss it into the canal, and the big cop would come up. Crap, they weighed about 20 pounds.
Yeah.
They were huge.
You kept them well fed.
Yeah. And if people are wondering whereabouts I'm talking about, many of you that are listening to us remember One Mill Street restaurant that Charlie Daher from Commonwealth opened. It was just 2 buildings up from there. It's a nice area, and they used to do one hell of a business, let me tell you. Let me tell you. So all of a sudden we find these cards that most people didn't even know. Was there hints out there that something?
Yeah. So what the company did was Morehouse is as an incentive for kids to tell mom to buy this bread was they put these little cards in them. And they'd kind of taken that idea from tobacco companies,
right,
which had been doing it for about 20 years.
Right.
And then everyone's decided that's not the best thing to have kids go buying cigarettes. So they put them in bread. And so the kids would go.
Oh, they put them in the loaf of bread?
They put in the loaf of bread. Right. So it was an incentive. So the hobbyists, the ones who know this stuff, they have like a PhD in baseball cards. They knew about it. But the cards that this gentleman had only been rumored to exist. So in the entire history of the hobby, my numbers I think are maybe slightly off. About 34 of any of the Morehouse Baking collection cards had been discovered. only 34. This gentleman had over 130.
Wow.
130. So I ended up finding out, I'm like, okay. And one of them was Shoeless Joe Jackson. If you're familiar with the story of the 1919 Chicago White Sox,
Black Sox,
the Black Sox through the World Series, banned forever. Sad, historic story. So I call this gentleman. He goes by John. He stayed anonymous. So I called John. I said, are you sitting down? Because you have a card, Shoeless Joe Jackson, that I believe is probably a $50,000 little piece of cardboard. So he said, well, that's good news. I'm like, yeah, it's good news. How about that? So I'm excited because I'm a hobbyist, right? And so he doesn't understand the hobby. And there are good guys like Tom, and then there are some other people that might have taken.
Wait, did he pay you to say that?
He did. He did. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
As long as you got something out of him, because
he knows.
He tosses. Let me tell you, he tosses money around like sewer caps.
I see.
You talk about alligator arms. Let me tell you.
I see. All right. So he's not paying for my beer.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for him. I'm excited for me because the hobby is going to lose their minds about this. So we make a date for me to go visit him and see these cards. And
that's the part I was curious about. So you didn't have to educate the industry. The industry knew about these cards.
No, we did. So the kind of people that could afford to buy these cards became quickly educated. So I would say very few people were familiar with the Morehouse Baking Company cards because only 30 of them existed. So the Joe Jackson card had never been bought or sold before.
Some of the professionals knew, but
yeah,
before you started to auction these off, you had to do an education for the industry as a whole.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And the collectors that have the means and the money to buy these things, they want to be the big guy. They want to be the ones that I have the only one. They get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I get a big kick out of? Take a guess.
Snowstorms, winter.
That's one.
Yeah.
The other thing is listening to our sponsors on this show. Louis, why don't you take us out, please?
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
When you dine at Ristorante Melisse in Amesbury, Massachusetts, you feel at home while enjoying an authentic Italian dining experience not to be forgotten. From the appetizer to dessert, you won't regret your choice. Bring your cravings and appetites. They promise you won't leave hungry or without leftovers for the next day. Takeout and catering are also available. Give them a call or visit them online for the menu, online ordering, and reservations. RistoranteMelisse.com. That's RistoranteMolise.com or call 978-388-4844. Ristorante Melisse, where you're treated like family. Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas, with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's, honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy.
And Mike Kunstler,
owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
He is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery tender Lazy Man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
That commercial seemed to have grabbed your attention.
It did. Drake it. I'm on my way.
You're writing it down, writing it on his hand.
I won't leave early, but I might be going there next.
Yeah, it's a first-class restaurant. And, you're in Newburyport. The one of the great restaurants up your area is Melisse in Amesbury.
Okay.
Boy, I'll tell you, between Joe Farrell's Tuscan Kitchen and
Joe Farrell's in Newburyport. They have
Joe's. He's in Newburyport. He opened up right on the water. What was that building before, Lou?
The Black Cow.
The Black Cow.
Which is now moved up. It's moved up on the street.
It's there, but it's closer to the street, right?
Greens.
Yeah, that's good. There's some great Italian restaurants in the area. You like Italian food?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Molise is awesome, though. If you haven't done Molise,
Yeah. Delicious.
Different ball game.
It is. When you have the owner cooking, makes a big difference.
Right? If you're friends,
Big difference. Let's get back to your business. Okay. Yeah. Gross vintage baseball cards. You specialize in just vintage baseball cards. You don't go into things you don't know that much about.
Right. And so let's define what vintage cards are, because there's a period of time in the 80s. So a lot of folks will say, gosh, 80s is a long time ago. Those are vintage. Unfortunately, it's not. The companies that produced cards overproduced the cards, massively overproduced the cards in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s.
Oh, really?
Really overproduced. So the prices of those, unfortunately, I do get calls from people that say, hey, I've got these old cards. And they say, well, what year are they from? Send me a picture. And unfortunately, they're from 1984, 87, 89. And I said, unfortunately, I said, those cards don't have financial value. They're fun. You know, they're old. They've got great old players, but they're not financially valuable. So the cards that I know best are, they're going back. Probably the newest cards would be the 60s, but I also collect cards that go back to the late 1800s. I'll give you a visual here. So here's the oldest card I have in my collection. Where's our camera? Right. I'm new to this. So this is from 1887.
Jesus.
This is Mike King Kelly with the Boston Bean Eaters.
Beautiful too.
Is it? Thank you.
Yeah.
And so this was an insert.
Boston what?
The Boston Bean Eaters.
Yeah.
Bean Eaters. They were, that was a National League team. The American League didn't exist yet. So
I
Mike,
love the name.
so take a look at the mustache here. Look at the mustache.
I saw it.
So Mike was one of baseball's first celebrities. He was a really colorful dude, and he actually in the off season,
personality.
Yeah, in the off season, he was a vaudeville guy. So he would make his money on the field. He was a great baseball player, a Hall of Famer, but he was on stage in vaudeville and made money on the side. So this is the oldest card that I have, and I just think it's just
very, the year
cool.
Once again.
This is 1887.
What is a card like in that kind of condition?
This card is probably a $5,000 or $6,000 card.
So it's close to 140 years old, that card.
Right.
And look at the condition it's in.
Right.
It's gorgeous.
And it's fun on the back. So my eyesight, I'm becoming an old man. So these were tucked in cigarette packs, Allen and Ginter cigarette packs. And they had more than just baseball players. They had if you read the back, it would say billiards players, pugilists. They weren't fighters, they were pugilists, boxing, wrestlers, track and field. So they would, again, as an incentive to buy those cigarettes, they tuck these cards in there. Here's another fun one that I like. This is one of my favorite collections. So everybody's familiar with Cracker Jack.
Oh, sure.
So in 1914 and 1915, they would put these cards, which are just, I think they're so beautiful. I'm getting tipped here. They'd put these in the packages of Cracker Jack.
That's nice too.
Isn't that nice? So 1914, they actually put it in with the popcorn and the candy. So in 1914, if you looked at the back of the card, it would be stained with the caramel. and the hobby elitists would get a grade lower, but to a hobby, and I don't mean to sound this way, a purist, I think it's more charming when the card has the caramel, because some kid opened up a pack of cards and pulled out old Fred Clark, who was a manager sitting on his bat. I just think it's cool. It's just fun.
Well, collectors love stories. They love background. They love lead up. So that adds to the legend of it, right?
They do. In fact, so let me come back to the Morehouse baking story right in Lawrence, where you grew up. So the wrap up to the story was the gentleman not only had this Joe Jackson. When I went to see him, I said, "Hey, are you still good to meet?" He goes, "Yeah. By the way, I found a few more cards I forgot about." And I said, by the way. And I went, "Okay." And he sends me a text, and I asked my wife to read it because my jaw hit the ground. He said something about the better of the two Babe Ruths.
Wow.
And I said, "John, do you have Babe Ruth cards from the Morehouse bake?" He goes, "Yeah, same collection." They were just sitting in my office for years.
Oh, by the way. Yeah.
I'm like, sitting in your office. So fast forward, I ended up helping John bring these to a national auction company called REA, Robert Edwards Auction House. Right. And they specialize in rare cards. And that card sold, the Babe Ruth card sold for $817,000 2 months ago. So that wasn't you who got it? That was a secret. I don't get to tell me.
Tom. I don't know.
Okay.
I think he was missing that in his collection.
So my advice to your listeners and to you all is go to your basements, go to your attics. They really do. I mean, it's really amazing what
you never know.
You don't know. You don't know. And people are coming to me now saying, I have these. I inherited these from my dad. They came from my grandfather. I don't know what to do. I don't know what they're worth.
It's kind of spiraled, hasn't it? Because usually they just toss it. Grandfather would pass or go into a home and they'd just toss these things. But now there's so much money involved. People are starting to ask and they're starting to come out. It just seems like every day there's another find.
There is.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, so the reason I started the company was I want to be able, so I'm a collector and I understand the hobby and not everyone is going to give you your best deal.
Yeah.
And so there are people that will be taken advantage of if they don't understand it. So
Yep.
that was why I decided to do this. And it's been fun. I've had 8 or 9 collections that came to me since this story broke. And there was a lot of media coverage. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Mike. And one of my favorites was this gentleman who lives.
How much did Tom charge you?
Pay me?
Yeah.
That's there was a non-disclosure. I can't tell about it.
Hey, Lou, just so you'll know, my screen is completely blank. So
What did you do?
what have I've been talking. My mouth didn't do it. So anyway,
Next break, I'll try to fix it.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I just want you to be aware of it. So when
Okay.
it's time for a break, tell Jeff and he'll take us out. All right?
I don't
I'm
know.
looking on your media page. You're thanking Tommy and Mike, but I'm at Sports Collectors Daily, New York Times, Boston Globe,
Yeah.
CVB, Fox 25,
Wow.
Yahoo News,
Hey.
YouTube,
My
Sports Hub.
the Sports Hub was fun.
I'll bet.
I'm down being interviewed with Gene Levanchi on a live interview, and I was about to be nervous, but it was like sitting with you. It's just very relaxing, talking about baseball cards and baseball that I love. So Gene was
What you
super
know.
super chill. So as I'm leaving there, thinking, what happened to my life? How am I sitting here with Gene Levanchi talking about baseball cards? I get a message from 98.5, the Sports Hub, that said, "Oh my gosh, we read your story. Would you be willing to come on with the guys in the morning?" I'm like, would I be willing to? Yeah, of course. Super fun.
Hold me back.
Yeah. Will this show if I hold this up?
Yep.
So this is one of so I kept 3 cards from the Morehouse baking collection. There are 3 cards I kept. This is Ray Schalke, a Hall of Famer, and you just see the image is really, it's very old timey. You can see it here. What's fun is on the back of the card. I'll show you first, Mike. So there's the Morehouse Baking Company.
Yep.
In Lawrence, Mass. So I'll show that here. I don't know. Hopefully it's clear. I can't see on the screen.
Yeah.
So you'll see the word canceled on the back. And so again, this was an incentive for kids, boys and girls. If you bring 50 of these cards to the Morehouse Baking Company in Lawrence, you
got a devil dog.
You could almost as good.
Oh, all right.
You had 2 choices, a nifty bat and ball or an extra long jump rope.
Oh,
So
Not an extra long jump rope.
long jump rope.
Wow.
So little did the kids know that the jump rope wasn't the prize. It was the damn card
Card,
that was
yeah.
redeemed. But I'll give the Morehouse Baking folks credit. They would stamp canceled, so you could only redeem it one time, but they gave the cards back to the
nice.
kids.
Yeah.
Cool.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
So
that's-
again, I find this to be really charming that it says canceled on the back.
Yep.
again, a story behind the story.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
Yeah, but this is the fun of it. I mean, investors have their own stake in the game,
And
but
that's fine if that's what they
Yeah,
want to
it's
do.
fine.
For me, I enjoy hearing about there's a card in here, catcher named Germany Schaefer.
I know
Nobody,
Germany.
you know Germany
I
Schaefer.
do.
Okay.
he actually stole first base.
He's my story.
No,
Isn't that a great
I
story?
just put the headline. Yeah.
Stole for so
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Have you read the book?
know this guy?
Yeah. Well, when worked with Tom on the book,
Bring him in.
one of the biographies I wrote
Of course he does.
was Germany Schaefer.
Germany
Oh.
Schaefer.
Yeah.
So you've read A Glory of Their Times.
I haven't read the book. No.
The best. The
Yeah.
best. So A Glory of Their Times was written in the
You
60s.
kill me. You kill me.
Isn't he
dude.
good? He's
I've
good.
He's
lived
good.
a long time. I've collected a lot of
you're
stuff.
good.
Come on in
Robert,
here with us.
Robert De Niro. You.
No, Germany's one of my favorite stories because everyone says you can't steal first base. He actually did.
So can I tell the story?
Yeah.
I'll get it brief. So Germany
go ahead.
Schaefer was a catcher, colorful guy, full of personality. Catchers are always kind of colorful. They're a little wacky, right? They're like goalies in hockey.
Yeah.
So Germany Schaefer was at bat, gets on first base. So there's runners on first and third. So Germany Schaefer thought that the catcher had a really wimpy throwing arm. So he decides they're going to do a first and third double stolen base to get the runner home, right? So I break for second, and the catcher throws it down, which brings a runner in from third. So Germany Schaefer goes running to second base, screaming like hell, here I go, here I go. You're not going to throw me out. Catcher pops up out of his crouch, doesn't throw it. Germany Schaefer starts razzing him big time. The ball players back then were tough. So Germany Schaefer comes up, gives him a
It
lot
was
of
a carnival back then.
grief.
Most of them worked in the mines.
Yeah.
But he's pissed off. He's like, it didn't work because the guy from third couldn't come home. So on the next pitch, Germany Schaefer ran back to first, freaked everybody out. The catcher didn't know what to do. The pitcher didn't know what to do. He gets on first base, and everyone's like, the umpire's like, is that against the rules? They didn't know. Who the hell's running back? So he's mocking the catcher again. On the next pitch, he breaks for second again. And this time, the catcher behind the plate, he's embarrassed.
course
So
he
he
is.
comes up and he throws this lollipop into center field, and the guy from third comes home.
in. I love
So
it.
Germany Schaefer is the only one that stole first base. And that's the background of these stories, which make the cards.
Makes it unique.
And I was telling you off the air before the start. So when someone buys a card for me, or I'm helping to sell the card, be prepared, because I'm going to tell you the story of the player, because I feel like it just makes the collection, the purchase, whatever, it makes it more enjoyable. There's more background to it.
Well, that was the premise of Tom's book, because in the T206 cards, which was one of the more famous collections, there was no biographies, no stats, no nothing. There was advertisements for tobacco companies on the back. So people didn't know the stories of the players. So that was the premise of the first book, tell the stories of the players. And there's just a ton of fascinating stories.
Right.
Oh, that's cool about first base.
The book is, Mike, a glory of their times. So that was a book that was written in the 60s. A guy drove all over the country to meet these ball players that played at the turn of the century. They were old men by then. And he said, I want to get these stories before they pass. And so it is such a great book. It's written in the prose and language of the player. So it's from a first person point of view. So the old timey language, the great stories. Anyway, I don't have a stake in that book, but if anyone wants a good summer read of the middle of winter and get into baseball, old timey baseball, a glory of their times, would be highly recommended.
Time to take a break, Mike.
Time to take a break. Okay.
I went old school.
You heard the boss.
I follow the rules.
All right. Hey, guess what, folks? We're going to take a break.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao.
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
Sisters and co-owners Antoinetta and Elisa brought their family authentic Italian recipes from Molise, Italy, and a warm and welcoming dining experience to its customers at Ristorante Molise. The combination of their meals made from natural, homemade, fresh ingredients, and your time with family and friends together at dinner time is unmatched. Located in Market Square in the heart of Amesbury, they're open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday from 3 to 9 p.m. and are available for private parties during off hours. For reservations, call them at 978-388-4844. That's 978-388-4844. Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas, with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy,
And Mike Kunstler.
owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
he is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery, tender, lazy man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
And we are back in the
You
studio.
can't see, yeah.
I can't see anything. No, I know. In the
Take your word
studio,
for it.
we got Jeff Gross with us, and Jeff, you're a very interesting guest. I'm having a very good time because
Thank you.
I'm learning a lot. Now we're going to teach you something.
Okay.
All right.
I love it.
We call Lou sometimes the professor.
Okay.
All right, because he's very intelligent. He knows a lot, and he retains a lot. Lou, lay it on us, brother.
I just wanted to know if you wanted to know the story of Ali Latham, who was part of the T206 collection.
I do.
This is all part of Tom's first book
Okay.
because I worked with Tom on his first
Did
book.
you research this individual?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
one of the players I wrote up.
Okay.
And Ali was the first professional ball player from New Hampshire, which is why he's kind of relevant, but he's also left his mark on the game. He had a couple great stories, like at one time he lit some candles in the dugout to tell the umpire it was too dark to play. The
Okay.
umpires weren't calling the game.
Yeah.
So he lit some candles in the dugout. And he became Major League Baseball's first full-time base coach. He was the first guy who was
Oh.
designated as a base coach, and he was coaching third base, and his technique was to try to rattle the pitcher by running down the baseline and screaming obscenities at the pitcher.
I love it.
They tried to rattle him. So that caused the introduction of the third base box.
Okay.
That's for Ali Latham. So when you go to any ballpark now and you see the first base box and the
Because
third base box,
Because of him.
that's Ali Latham.
Who did he play for, Lou?
He played for a ton of teams.
Okay.
I'll look it up here, but he played for a ton of teams during his time.
Oh, he was
stole
a
bases.
character.
He was a character. He stole
He-
bases. He wasn't a particularly great player, but he left his mark.
He did.
You know, it was like
When you go to the Fisher Cats, I know you've been to the Fisher Cats.
yeah, I
believe
love
they
going.
have-
I love going up there.
I believe they have a plaque up there for Ali Latham.
Now
kidding.
I
Kinda-
need to find an Arlie Latham card for my collection.
Yeah.
So you just set me on a new track.
So this is something.
And that's the thing about
Oh, yeah.
the story you brought up about Germany Schaefer and the vintage cards. That's the beauty of it. These guys, the impact of these guys linger to today, and that's one of the beauties of baseball. Is like
Right,
it's so
right.
tied back to those time periods.
And it also reflects the community at the time, you know. And when DiMaggio was coming in here, there was, you know, he was so connected to the Italian community in New York.
Yeah.
When Jackie Robinson came in Brooklyn, it just reflects, you know, changes in society. It's an important game right now. The biggest name in the game of baseball is Shohei Ohtani from Japan. and Ichiro Suzuki just got inducted in the Hall of Fame. It just really reflects what's going on in the world outside of the game, and that's what makes it interesting to me.
Well, you know something, you got some young studs out there, and they're really, they're adding to the game. Because of personality, 2, because of their ability. I mean, you look at a guy like Mike Trout, and you look at his rookie card and what it went for.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's freaking nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is an unfair question for you, and it may be. As far as trying to increase value for your family, collectible baseball, vintage baseball cards, or stock market? If you take 50, 60 years, where do you think the biggest profit would be? I know it might be unfair to you.
No, it's not unfair. I'll answer it first to say that when I got back into vintage cards, I made a conscious decision to not look at it as an investment. I'm not saying
you look at it as a hobby.
I look at it as a hobby. I don't want to lose money, but I don't buy the cards to make money. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not my interest. I enjoy the game. I enjoy the history. I like learning things about Latham.
That was good. That was a
Isn't
good story.
it? Germany Schaefer. Yeah. No one's making money on Germany Schaefer cards, but I think they're fun. But these cards are worth some money. So I'm a business guy. My day job is I'm a healthcare consultant. So I put big business deals together. So it crosses over the discipline to the cards.
Yeah.
So I make good decisions on them, but I'm not doing it to make.
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby where you can make money. The good investors, and I know you're a financial guy too, is the theory is the pyramid, not the pyramid scheme, but a pyramid. So you have a base of investments, and at the top of you say, okay, I could afford some discretionary investments. That's to me
that's
where the
keyword.
That's where the baseball cards fit in. So I don't want to lose money on it, but you were asking me a question off the air about my business and how this works. Is that there are families or there are individuals?
I want to know what your vintage card company, LLC.
Yep.
What does it do to help me?
Sure. So if someone has a collection of cards and they're looking to find out what are these worth, and if I decide I want to liquidate these, what's the best way for me to do it? Because if I don't know, I could really be taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. And so I launched Jeff Gross Vintage Baseball Cards for folks to be able to consign their cards to me. So you could walk into a baseball card shop and hand over a big binder or a big shoebox of cards. And it's not a bad model. It's a different model. You get paid right then and there.
And you walk away.
You'll walk away, but you'll make less money, right? Yep. Because that dealer needs to pay for their overhead and they take some risk. So you might sell the cards between, that's typical in the industry, if they're cards that they can sell, 40 to 60%. So $100 card, they might pay you 40 or $50. That's not unfair. It's just their business model. What my model is I'm going to sell it for you
on consignment.
And
I like that.
And so if you're going to sell your house, Mike, do you go to a realtor?
What's the market what the market can bear?
Right.
You get a bidding war for a card, you got it made.
Right. And so for me, so I will charge typically between 15 and 25%. Okay. So you're going to walk away instead of 50 or 60% of the value, you're looking at 75 to 85% of the value. But here's the difference. If someone needs to sell faster, you're better off going into a card shop or a card show because they will buy them from you and you're done. If you're not in a hurry and you prefer to get the maximum value, then a consignment through folks that do like what I do, it'll take you a bit longer. You'll get more money.
But if you're selling an asset, having an education about it is really important. For example, the primary story. This guy didn't know he didn't know he had an $800,000 card.
Right. Yeah. Right. And my connections in the hobby, my understanding of the cards.
And if you walked in the wrong door,
you walked in the wrong door. I had some guys that advised me that I knew I had my hands on a very significant hobby find. And I reached out to some folks that do bigger deals than I had done. And some of the advice they gave me was pretty unethical. Oh. And I'd never mention names, but I realized I'm glad for me, and I'm glad for
give
John.
The guy $400 and take the card.
Oh man, their approach was just really distasteful. And so they're out there. They're good guys, mostly good guys, but there's some sketchy characters that will take advantage of the lack of knowledge.
It sounds like this. I'm going to call it an industry / hobby.
It is
/ business.
$1 billion industry.
But that's right. Mm-hmm. It seems that there's a great deal of trust that's involved in this particular hobby.
There needs to be. And if you have a collection of cards that you're looking to sell for your family and you're not familiar with the hobby, that's the number one thing you want, is to make sure you don't need to become an expert in the cards, but make sure that you're very careful about who you sell the cards to. Are they trustworthy? What's their background?
If you meet Jeff and talk with Jeff and get an opportunity to talk with them, you build that trust. I've done a show with Leighton for 6 years, and it's a huge business, and it's it's not as transactional as it could be. There's a lot of community involved in there. Plus, he's on the media all the time. You can call him, pick him up and call him and talk to him on the phone, and you build up that trust. You develop a relationship with somebody who you trust.
Key.
Yeah,
that's the key. Because even with old collectible cards, there's a lot of cleaning up that's going on to get these cards graded higher.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep, there is.
And that's something you got to be careful about. I mean, just recently, there were some cards that were trimmed because it had a bent corner. They decided to shave it to make it look more appealing. But that's not necessarily the case, right? I mean, sometimes you're better off having a little, fold that happened naturally.
Oh, sure. Again, it depends on what your motivation is. As a collector,
if you're trying to get the card graded higher and higher to make more money, you try to clean the card up.
But the grading companies are onto this.
Yeah,
they understand when it's been modified.
And even someone with the knowledge that I have of the hobby, I didn't mention it, but you notice that these cards have these numbers and they're graded by these companies.
Oh, I love that, Ted.
I want to, isn't that nice? 1954.
Yep.
I want to know, even as an advanced collector, I want to know that this card's authentic. And if it's been trimmed or if it's been whatever, recolorized, like 1971, Lou, when you were collecting the black borders, people would take black magic markers and they would make it look sharper. Well, the grading companies have the technology. It's not hard for them to tell this has been colored. As a collector, I want to know that it's an authentic card. Believe it or not, sometimes you can smell the card, not through this, but you can smell an ungraded card to see if the cardboard itself smells 100 years old.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. I brought a gift for you guys.
What is it?
Nice.
Can I do that? So
my new favorite guest.
So yeah, you can. So these, I know I said that there's a period of time that they're older cards. They're not necessarily super valuable, but they're super fun. So I brought a pack for each of you from 2 different years, 1990 Upper Deck cards. Now they're not super valuable, but they're really, really pretty cards. So you'll get to open those. Then we're going to see how brave you are.
Oh, these are unopened. Okay.
Yeah, these are unopened. So I bought these packs. And by the way, I'm doing this because I'm appreciative of having this opportunity to come on with you. But when people, I have a little baseball cave.
One thing you don't know, I bill at the end of the month.
And that's my payment.
Oh, that's your payment. Okay, yeah, we're even.
We're squared up.
We're
all right, buddy. I have a baseball cave. It's like my own little Hall of Fame, and it's pretty cool. I should have sent you pictures to post for your guests, but it's
next time you come in.
It's pretty neat. And when I went to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, I noticed something they did, and I thought, I want to do that. So I have these packs of cards. When people visit my baseball cave, my man cave, they put up with my stories. I give them a prize. So that's why I'm bringing to you. So that's 1990 Upper Deck. Now we'll see how brave you are. So these are unopened packs from 1987 tops. The brave part is the gum is still in these cards.
Oh yeah.
So the question will be, and I won't challenge you on the air, but I do have some friends that have actually chewed the gum. Nobody got sick. It's pretty gross. So these are cards, the classic cards from 1987.
Thank you.
1987 packs for you both. And you'll have to, if you get someone fun in there, you have to send me a picture.
Conservation.
Okay, so one of the early Tom shows, the Great American Collectible Show, with Rico on the show, and Leighton Shelton that happened to be up here and was on the show.
Yeah.
And we did that with Rico. We had him. We thought we killed Rico. He literally.
Oh, the gum.
Oh God, yeah. He literally went over to the trash barrel during it and had to spit it out. We thought, this is it. We're the people who killed Rico.
Well, I want to harm either one of you, so don't eat the gum. But if you do, I'm looking. All I ask is that you got to tell me who you got and send me. And I have had someone pull out a card. Lou, you might know this. One other pack in 1989, a company called Fleer made a mistake. So they were a new company, the quality control. Do you know the story?
I'm not sure yet.
The quality control was not good yet. So Cal Ripken's younger brother, Billy Ripken, Billy Ripken was a younger player. His teammates played a goof on him. So he's standing there holding his bat, and on the knob of the bat, he didn't notice, and the photographer didn't notice, and Fleer didn't notice that they wrote F face, but it didn't say F face on the bottom of the bat. So here they go. They distribute these cards. All these kids are ripping these cards open with F face. Oh my God. So they stopped it and they stopped production, but the error F face cards are still out there. When someone came to my house, it's probably $100 card.
Oh, okay.
Someone came into as a guest and they opened up and they pulled out the Billy Ripken F face card. And I was so happy. She's like, oh, young girl, a friend of ours. So she's like, I'm going to give it to you. I'm like, no, this is my gift to you.
Wow,
So
unbelievable.
yeah.
Hey, listen, Gross Vintage baseball cards. You have a website.
I do.
Why don't you tell the people if they have some questions, they can reach out to you.
I'd love to hear from them. Jeff Gross Vintage Baseball Cards. It's an easy name to remember. It's Gross, and it's vintage baseball. I believe in branding that's very clear. So Jeff Gross Vintage Baseball.
Yeah, I guess.
And I've had a lot of folks reach out looking for advice, and if they want my help to sell it, great. If they just want some advice, that's free. So,
you know something, I love your passion.
Thank you.
And I sense it from here. Collectibles, especially with cards, it's never been high on my list.
Well, now you have a collection.
Yeah,
right?
I'm all set.
Yeah,
I got 2 put away.
What happens, and there are a lot of great card shops in the area. Don't get me wrong, but if you come across the collection from a relative or something like that, you come in possession of something, talk to somebody who you can trust and who knows.
I think that's
get an education.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
And it's not always someone else who finds them.
Yeah.
They are found. They are in basements. They are in shoe boxes. They are passed down from family members. It happens every day. Yep. I have a gentleman who's reached out to me last week that I may be back to talk to you this summer.
Nice.
With a very, very significant collection. And I'm like,
Oh,
really?
Wow. Oh, wow.
Really? Lightning striking twice? Are you serious? And sure enough, yeah. And it's fun. And I'm helping him.
Well, the hobby's a lightning storm right now.
Yeah.
Because again, it seems like every week there's something's come out of some closet somewhere.
It's crazy.
It's literally a shoebox. It's funny, but
and there are guys like me that love it, and
Yep.
so and then there are guys who have more money than me that buy the crazy fancy stuff.
It's
So
like finding a 65 Corvette in somebody's barn.
yeah,
You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's like
the
that.
Same thing. you
It's
know?
like that, except
Hey.
except it's this big.
It's time to say arrivederci.
All right,
Hey,
my pleasure.
my pleasure.
Thank
Believe
you
me.
so
Louis,
much.
What do you think? Should we have him back? on with
Absolutely,
us?
it's fun.
Oh, I'd love that.
This
Thank
would be
you.
Great.
Thank
This
you.
Would be great.
It was a pleasure. Good luck with those cards. Be careful to go.
Cavity puller.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. Thank you, everybody. Next week, St. Valentine's Day.
That's right.
Wow. We'll be doing our show from Sicily.
All right, Esther.
Esther baby is going to be here. We're going to talk about St. Valentine and the history behind him. So we got a lot going on
Nice.
next week. Take care, everybody. Be careful. I know we got a little snow coming in Sunday. Hopefully it's a lot, but who am I? Anywho, take care.